Everybody, and welcome back to the Camera Life podcast. It is the 12th of February, 2026, and we are joined today by Australian award-winning fashion and portrait photographer, Bronwyn Kidd. G'day, Bronwyn. Welcome to the show.
Morning. Thank you. I love that intro.
So did I. That's the first time I've seen it.
Very nice. Yeah.
Wow. It's a work in progress, but I was like, how do we kind of show, the range of people that we've had on the show and just, give it a nice little intro? We're getting there.
Yeah.
We're getting there.
Yeah.
Very nice.
And of course, my Lord and Savior and yours, Justin Castles, is here as well. How are you, Jay?
I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah.
I've got 2 coffees, a water. I'm ready to go.
And I imagine that your personal assistant prepared all of that for you.
One of the coffees she did, yes. She's wonderful. Okay. Thanks,
She's
Elena.
wonderful. Bronwyn, it's so good to have you on the show. We're very excited to talk to you today. As I mentioned in the intro, you're an award-winning photographer, and most recently, you won let me see if I can get the pronunciation right. You won the Martin Cantor Portrait Prize 2025 at the last year's Ballarat International Photo. You're going to have to say it for me, Bronwyn.
Biennale.
Thank you, Biennale. There it is. That's how you say it, folks. In case anyone was wondering at home, now you know.
Don't worry, we've all had trouble spelling it.
Yeah, every time. So that's absolutely massive, and we spoke to the CEO of the Biennale. Thank you, and recently I saw your interview with Harry and Sally from When Harry Met Sally podcast, which is Sally Brownbill and Harriet Tarbuck, who we've also had on the show. But we'll dig into that. But maybe I thought before we just say good morning to the folks in the chat, we'll just give them a moment to get over the amazing intro that Justin made. Let's dive in with a question. In your bio on your website, I think it's Dr. James McCardle. McCardle. I need to get my glasses fixed. Bronwyn's Dr. James said, Bronwyn's style is nostalgic for the greats of horticulture. For those playing along at home, how do you define horticulture photography?
Haute Couture. Sorry, I didn't want to.
I tried.
I was because isn't horticulture gardening?
Look, I was born in the Northwest. Okay, this is what you get.
Yeah. Well, you think of Chanel and Yves Saint Laurent. You think of the runways and collections, fashion collections being shown. That's where the style begins. That's haute couture. It's not off the hanger. It's not ready to wear. It's a different thing. So when you walk into say Zara, that's called ready to wear, and they do collections, but it's there ready for you. I think it's really only since the 1950s that's happened, and before that, a lot of the ball gowns, a lot of the really dressy garments were made in very small batches, and also probably fitted to the people that were buying them. So you might have seen in movies when there's people sitting in a salon and they're witnessing a collection being shown and they're saying, oh, I'll have that one and I'll have that one. That's what it was, but it's also where the initial ideas come from. So even in the picture behind me, that's a Ferragamo dress. I suppose because that's 90s, it still may have been classed as haute couture, but definitely Hardy Amy's, who I worked for in the early 90s, did haute couture, but also ranges of ready to wear that people could just take off the hanger. So yeah, it's a genre, it's a time, it conjures up a romance. There's a lot to it. Yeah. And James, actually, sorry, I've just got I don't know why my email's coming through. I'll just turn that off. James was, he was actually my high school art teacher. And,
oh, wow.
Yeah, so, and I can talk more about him later. He's fantastic. He's wonderful man, and he wrote that bio for me.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, what a lovely full circle moment to have you know, one of your first teachers in craft and art to actually say those beautiful words about you. Question to that, in you know, 2026, a world of extremely fast fashion, is there still a place for haute couture photography? Did I say it right? Did I get it right?
Yes, you did fantastic. You did really well. Yes, I mean, look, it's definitely, there's a lot of costume coming out in photography and fashion. There's always a place for more alternative imagery. There are alternative magazines. There's the designers are still coming up with that wilder end of the range. You know, we know there's a lot of e-commerce happening, but I guess, you know, if you look hard enough, you will find other more sort of inventive photography. And I guess when I started out, it felt like it was mostly that. But, you know, it's changed so much since the internet. But I felt like every shoot I was doing had that element of creating something special. You weren't there as a, you know, of course there were catalogs and things like that to shoot, but you could seek out doing something a lot more creative quite easily. And
I guess there's also, you know, just reflecting on that, when designers, fashion designers create a piece, and, you know, your role is to document that piece, you're just as important a part of that end-to-end process, because, you know, obviously a designer wants someone to see their work. And that's where your role as the fashion photographer steps in, and it's a cataloging, it's an archiving of the fashions that, you know, once were or emerging. So I think it's a wonderful genre.
There's kind of a very fine line between I mean, editorial photography for magazines, so say for Bazaar or Vogue or whatever magazine, allows you to be more creative with the garment and maybe not show all the detail. But more recently, most of the images that are in the fashion pages are advertisements, really, and you have to show all the detail. So that has changed also. You know, there's a lot less scope to do something kind of just high contrast, or, you know, that where you lose it and you've just got a silhouette. I don't know. It's a tricky one. There's not
a balance, isn't it?
It's a balance. Yeah. And famous photographers have been not given more work because they haven't shown that detail. Like there's a photographer, Lillian Bassman, whose work I really love. She was kind of told by, I'm not too sure if it was Bazaar or Vogue, you know, that she didn't show the buttons and bows enough, because she actually printed through the back of the paper, and so the image was so Man Ray actually taught her to do that, and she actually printed through the back of the paper, and so the image was kind of diffused. So this is in the darkroom, but that was her look, and it was beautiful, really beautiful, but she didn't show the garment enough.
Yeah.
So even in that world of like so much creativity, there's still these constraints around what different people want to get out of what you're doing. Like, there's always someone that's like, that's not what we were thinking. No matter where you are in the piece of the puzzle, I guess. And I'm sure that potentially even happens to the designers, depending on where they're fitting in sometimes as well. You know, everyone's work gets scrutinized as to whether it's achieving the goal of whoever's paying or whatever. That'd be tough to navigate.
It is. And as the photographer, you've got to wear a lot of hats on the day. You know, you've got to appease everybody, and but you've also got to get your vision across. So it's a real juggling act, and it all happens so quickly in your head. And it's managing people. I mean, there are photographers that, you know, I know of and have read about and have heard about that, you know, put up a black curtain and nobody sees what they do. And I think digital made it hard for them, because, I mean, digital made it hard for all of us to just do what we were visualizing for ourselves, because before digital, you know, you look through the camera and what you saw was what you saw. Like, nobody could criticize it. Nobody was looking at it at a screen. There weren't 10 people around the screen seeing it live, you
or
know.
10 million.
Or 10 million. It was, there was a lot more freedom, but there was less expectation on the day, I guess, as well, of how much would be achieved. And, you know, now it's quite a lot.
Would you say there was more trust in the photographer then, because, like you say, they couldn't see anything, so they had made the decision to use you or whomever, and then the trust was given on that day, and then everyone we'll wait and see what comes of it later before we make any judgments?
Definitely. I mean, particularly working in London, because there were so many photographers there, you kind of had to have your own style and be chosen for that style. You know, there could be 20 photographers going for that job, but you got it because you had the right style. I mean, that still happens here as well, but particularly in London, it was fierce competition. And so you kind of I created a style that was particularly mine, although a lot of people said at the beginning it was kind of reminiscent of the old favourites, Parkinson and people like that. And I had a bit of criticism, I guess, on that it was very similar to those photographers' work, and which I take as a compliment, really. But you know, when you're on the shoot, you did a Polaroid, and then they had to trust after seeing the Polaroid, which was, sometimes you're like, oh my God, I hope the picture's better than the Polaroid, because Polaroid's really good.
Can we just use this? Little square of magic?
Polaroid's really good. And then, of course, you know, when you get the film back and, you know, you then make it, they've kind of all forgotten about the Polaroid, because, of course, you took it home and but burnt it. But yeah, there was a lot of trust put in you, because you know, everyone turned up just expecting that magic to happen, and hopefully, you know, often it did, and you just kind of went with the flow and created, and it was kind of like a different energy. Not saying the energy now is bad or anything, it's just was a different energy.
Yeah. To follow up on that, do you think that, especially in your world, that the move to digital throttled creativity a little bit for a while?
Definitely.
You know, when you had that trust to shoot, here's the Polaroid, but you're going to have to wait until I develop and print and scan, or whatever it is, you know, the process may be.
Yeah.
Has that move to digital eroded that trust a bit? People want stuff instantly.
Yeah, I think so. And I had something I was going to say, and now when I first started in digital, you know, there was a lot of uncertainty and things being thrown at you, like moire coming off the garment. So you'd get these, you know, terrible patterns, and you think, oh my God, I've been working for 15 years and I've never had this problem, and now I look stupid because I've got this thing here that won't go away, and how are we going to repair it? And I think the uncertainty on set of the photographer, I know for myself, probably definitely changed the vibe on set, because you had all these new curveballs coming at you, whereas before I knew what film stock I was using, I knew what I was going to expose it at, I knew who was going to process it, I knew how we were going to print it, but that changed for most shoots. I'd go in and talk to the printer beforehand and say, this is what I'm after, what do you reckon? And they might say, well, why don't we go, you know, this film, shoot it a bit under, we'll process it a bit more to get that look, and then we're going to the dark room, and then we'll pre-flash, and we'll do all these tricks on it, and okay, and then you go into your shoot and you know what you're doing. But when we went to digital, it was, the dark room was right there next to you, There was no coffees in between or, just chats or going away and thinking about it. It was so instantaneous that it was actually quite, for me, I found it quite frightening. And when I came back from England in 2004, people were already quite heavily into digital here. So they were a lot more further along than what I was. And, had to get a great digital operator because and my exposures on the first frame would be correct. Like everything would be correct because I'm still working with a light meter. I know what I'm doing. But then, I needed the lab to be equal to my lab in London, but sitting next to me and working really quickly. And it was quite a scary time. And also choosing what camera to buy. And I think all that uncertainty, it definitely would have shown me up as a, does she really know what she's doing? I don't know. But I was only so far into my career that I couldn't say I wasn't 60 or something and going into digital. I was like 30 something, early 30s, and I'd already had this career in film. But I wasn't ready to give it up because we'd gone into digital. But by the same token, it was a big thing to get my head around.
Yeah.
Was the pressure to move coming from every angle to move to? Was there any option for you to just be like, hey, I'm a film photographer through and through, or at that point, because you could do that now. There are people that would say, no, my medium's film. That's how I shoot. And that would potentially get accepted, but back then, was there too much pressure?
No. Yeah, and there was only one. There was LabX who were doing film for a little while, and then they closed. And then there was a guy down in Williamstown who was printing, and he was really the only printer I could find. Now for my artwork, I work with a printer in Sydney, and it's film that I'm often printing, or I've got a whole process around that we can talk about. But no, people wanted to see it straight away, and I think it's only in the last couple of years that film's made a reappearance, really. And I don't know who's shooting a whole fashion shoot on film, if it's not an editorial, but because it's so expensive, it's like $50 a roll more, it's, and maybe then they're scanning the neg, but it's going through, it's not as bespoke as it was before. Like they're going through machines that our film used to go through when it went to Amcal chemist, it's a bit of a different process than what it was. Like it was very highly attuned before. There's a lab in London called Tapestry who only do film, and they're fantastic. Oh, sorry, not Tapestry. They'll be angry at me for that. They all left Tapestry to create Bayeux, which is part of the Bayeux Tapestry, the big tapestry. And they moved up the other side of Oxford Street, and they've been going since about 2002 maybe, and they just do film, and hundreds and hundreds of rolls come in every day. It's pretty amazing.
Oh wow.
Of 120. So that's
it's great. It's great to see.
It's fantastic.
Because it's like so many crafts, we don't want to lose those skills. We don't want to lose that magic that happens in a dark room, or happens when you finally process a film and you look at the neg as it dries and you think, that's going to be it. That's going to be the one. It's different with digital, obviously. And like you, I learnt film photography in art school. But then I had a big gap in photography where I didn't have to make that transition into digital. I was doing other things with my life. Before we move on and get a little bit deeper into your story, maybe we should say good morning to some folks, Justin.
I should, actually. Yeah, there's a few people in the chat. Thursday morning, everyone's probably at work. Lucinda Goodwin is here. Good to see you. Ian Thompson, David Mascaro from San Francisco, LTK, good morning. Philip Johnson, Stuart Lyle, Paul's here. Pugsy 972. I think you're new. Good to see you. Join us. throw a question in.
I'm throwing some shade about how I pronounce Haute Couture.
Oh, it's possibly going to be on the highlight reel of this podcast for 2026. It was wonderful.
Great. Thanks, boss. Thanks. Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome back to, as we said, the Camera Life podcast. We're joined today by Bronwyn Kidd, who is an award-winning fashion, portrait, and fine art photographer. Let's roll back the clock a little bit. Let's talk about when your first spark for photography became obvious to you. Where, what was that situation like for you?
Look, I wasn't very good at school, so academically, I found it really hard to concentrate. And we were doing art. I moved schools in year 9. We had a great art class, art teachers, a couple of teachers, including James McArdle. And I think this learning about the history of art opened up my eyes to a more creative way of thinking. I'd done a bit of dance. I'd done a few different things, crafty things after school before, but I hadn't really explored it. And my parents loved movies, and they loved getting dressed up and going out and doing, going to different balls and things that would happen in the 70s. And so there was this kind of level of glamour that was there. So once I discovered fashion photography and I discovered, I started to see and hear about people like Richard Avedon and Cecil Beaton and people like that, I really started to, I think, sort of merge the movies and the photography. I mean, you see Funny Face movie, and that's all about Richard, or based on Richard Avedon, or Blow Up, David Bailey. And the more you I kind of got interested, and the more I learned, the more excited I got. But I guess it started with I really liked this band that was around Melbourne. You probably remember them. They're called Kids in the Kitchen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And they had this really good style, and it was kind of like a new style of music that came out, I guess, at the time. It was pop. But they're accessible. So, and my dad had bought a new camera, and so I just took the camera with me to concerts, and then I thought, oh, this camera is a bit of a rite of passage, and ended up on stage taking photos and things like that. Then got back to school and on the Monday and processed the film in the darkroom, and often there was nothing on it. It was badly exposed. Then we'd have to get out potassium ferrocyanide and try and get some kind of image, the latent image there. And that's kind of where it started. So then that, I think, making, and if I think about it now, it was actually the making of something that was like, oh, actually, I'm enjoying this. I'm not sitting down writing an essay or doing maths or, and all of that's kind of in it, but it's in the making. I'm actually touching something. I'm actually making something. I'm actually creating something. And in high school, my pictures that I made clothes for the photos that I made, and we went into amazing houses like Labassa, which I got access to. So I was doing like a producer's role. I was doing the costume role, and then I'd take the photo, and then I'd go to the darkroom. And I think it's that whole kind of the creating something that I thought, do you know what? I actually enjoy this, and I don't think I can do it. Whereas so many things at school I just couldn't do. I just didn't have it, didn't understand it, didn't understand, why is it X? Why is it not P, in maths? Yeah. Why is it always?
Well, trigonometry certainly come in handy in my life. It saved me more than once.
I just didn't get it. But I got this. I got the romance. I got the dreaming, I got the making, I got the collaborations, I got it. Like, I understood it and I really liked it. And then I just got really hungry for it to make more. Yeah.
It's a good term for it, to get hungry. I like that. I really like that a lot. And so you obviously your folks were very supportive, and you talked about James being one of your year 9 teachers, and you've still, and then having that that bio written by him is pretty amazing. So having such a strong, hungry passion for photography at such a young age, where were your sights set next, and what took place?
Well, I wanted to get into RMIT, and actually, I thought I wanted to get into Paran College, which is actually where James did, and he just put on that big Paran exhibition that was on at Museum of Australian Photography, he was behind that, which is pretty fantastic.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
But I went for the interviews, and he said to me, "Oh, you'll get into RMIT." Anyway, I did get into RMIT, and I started the course, but I just found it. I found it hard. I found it back then. It was quite science based, even though I was in the art stream, and I think I was just a bit too young. I just wasn't ready. I just wanted to make what I want to make. I didn't want the whites particularly to fall within a scale, or the blacks to be. I just kind of wanted it to be. I just wanted to take the picture, and so I didn't do too well at that. I didn't pass first year. I went into part-time in second year, and then I found photographer Andrew Vukasov, who, I don't know if you've met Andrew, but you should interview him as well. He's in New York at the moment, showing his aerial photography. I can send you his details. And
yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. He had a studio in Carlton above Vanbar with Joe Vittorio and John Palermo.
Oh, Vanbar, that used to be my weekend haunt.
Yeah. And I was introduced to him by a friend who I'd gone to RMIT with, who was working in Vanbar, and we just hit it off, and he said, "Well, why don't you come and assist me?" So I worked for him and waitressed in the evenings, and it was really, he was highly creative, and we had a dark room there. We were just working till 3 and 4 in the morning. After waitressing, I'd go back there, and we might be at St Kilda Beach stealing sand for a shoot the next day, or a palm frond off from someone's garden to make a shadow. Or he was very hands-on, and like me, kind of loved to create. So I assisted him, and things just kind of spiraled. I just kept getting more. I got more assisting work after that with people like Jackie Henshaw, and they created a studio in South Yarra called Limelight, Tim Deneef, and so I was really working with the Melbourne fashion-y people.
Yeah.
Photographers. Yeah. Did some other work, but mostly fashion, some still life and things like that, but mostly fashion. And I do remember George's, which was a department store in Melbourne, put out a call out for photography, and Jackie got this really big campaign, and we had a model come in from America, and oh my God, I was just like, she is incredible. Like, I really saw magic when she was on set, and of course it was just a white background, but Jackie had her standing on a perspex sheet on crates, and board perspex sheet, and then the background, and it was all very clean. And then we had the great fluter light on her, so it was like this big spotlight, and she was wearing this beautiful Armani dress, and they sent with the dress a perfume. I can't remember who it was by, but it was like $1,000, this perfume. And I was just like, yes, I love this.
Yeah.
This is
the life for me. Yeah.
This is where I need to be.
That's an amazing moment at such a young age too.
Yeah, I was like 21, 22, 21 maybe. Yeah. I just thought, this is where I need to be. And then the recession hit Melbourne, and I just thought, well, I could go to Sydney or I could go to London. And I ended up getting a one-way ticket to London. And then I feel like there was a clean slate, and I could go after those things, those really high, beautiful, expensive things. And I felt like, I felt kind of free being there, I guess, to be something new and to want something different. And I think definitely that shoot with Jackie was a bit of a launching pad for I always loved beautiful things, but it wasn't like there in front of me like it was that day in that Armani dress, that model, and that bottle of perfume.
Yeah. Perfect combination.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, okay. So you made a plan to buy a one-way ticket. Did you have anything like ready to go when you got, like, what was, tell me about the actual plan. Like you're like, all right, I'm going to move to London, one-way ticket. Then what?
That's it. That's it. That's
so you
it.
land in London and you go to a hotel?
No. My sister, I had gone to London a couple of years before. Andrew bought me a ticket to Paris, and as payment for working for him, and for 2 years we went to Paris. And he said, and I flew over with a model, so I'm kind of backtracking a bit now. I went to Paris with a model, and Andrew had a shoot on in Paris for Gelati Jeans Company, and he was doing something else, and he was traveling anyway. So I went over and I met him there, and then after we'd done the shoot, he said, you should stay. And I was like, well, I don't have any money. I've got a MasterCard and $500 on that, and about, I don't know, $100 in cash or something, like nothing. And anyway, I stayed and I assisted some photographers in Paris, and I didn't speak French, so that was really difficult. But I worked on some beautiful shoots, one with a photographer called Sophie Chevalier, who's the wife of Pascal Chevalier, who's quite famous, and just that was for Paris Opera, but I was like third assistant. And otherwise, then I started traveling, and I traveled around, and then I ran out of money, and I came home in debt. And then when I arrived home, as the plane landed, I was like, oh, I'm going back. And and I think I probably had done that shoot with Jackie before this anyway. So I basically came back and just spent a year earning money. Back then it was like $120 for a day assisting. And I was, I just saved up money and I bought a ticket. It was like $700 one way to London. And I had gone to London on that trip to Paris, and my sister was living in London. And so she gave me the details of the girl she lived with, and I wrote to her and I said, I'm coming over. And Ginny said, I've got a spare room. It's like £35 a week or something. And so I stayed in South London with Ginny, and then, then there's a whole longer story that goes on after that. But I basically left with a suitcase and with my towel and everything, like you go on a holiday. And I think that towel lasted about 6 years because I couldn't afford to buy another one.
And, that's so good.
Yeah. And really, you just had to, I arrived, and the first day I arrived, I contacted the Association of Photographers. I went there and visited, because that was like you could go to their office. I got a list of photographers. I went to bookstores and looked through magazines and tried to find, because all new people, but all new names, but, David Bailey, Terence Donovan, they were all, Clive Arrowsmith, they were all still working. Patrick Litchfield studio was still going. All these photographers were still working then. So you could contact them. I did go to Patrick Litchfield's studio, but I didn't. I just walked past it. I just found it. But I did.
Stalker.
Yes, stalker. But I did ring Clive Arrowsmith. He was a Vogue studio photographer with Bailey around that time, maybe a little bit later. More famous in the 70s, I think, than the 60s. And he's still working now. And I loved a shoot he did for a store called Harvey Nichols. And I saw it wasn't in a magazine, but when I went to the store, like you pick up pamphlets and things, and his name was on it. So as a credit. So I got his, I don't know how I got his number, but I did, maybe through the association. And I rang him and left a message, and he paged me back because I had a pager. Yeah. Ooh. And he paged me back, and then I called him back, and he said, I don't normally call assistants, but you've got a Welsh name and I'm Welsh. So I thought, wow. Well, so that crazy. It worked for him a couple of times, not too much. He had a full-time assistant, but that's all. That's what you had to do. You just had to think, oh, I like that work. I'll give them a call. You know, I like that. Oh, I saw that campaign. Who did it? Oh, okay, I'll give them a call. And it was cold calling. Like, it was really, there were some photographers that said, look, you don't have a car, you don't know London. I really need someone who really knows London. And I'd just gotten off the boat, you know, so it wasn't, I was so new to it. And then at the same time, I was taking my folio around, and I went to see some quite big name photographers. Michael Woolley was one of them. And he saw, I had like this little portfolio, which was the trend in Melbourne at the time, to photograph your print on 5/4 transparency and then put it in a little frame. So you would hold it up to the light or put on a light box. And so you weren't taking a print with you, you're taking a little box of 5/4 transparencies. Yep. And I had this little box, and it was a Underwater Kinetics case. It was a camera brand case at the time, which was quite popular. They made all different colors, but I got the black one. And this guy, Michael, said, darling, the photos are lovely, but the box looks like something the IRA would put a bomb in. And I was just, oh God. He said, go to this place and buy this portfolio, so this box. So I went there, and I, you know, spent £100 and bought this box. And it was just a whole like, okay, I'll do that. If you say do that, I'll do that. Yep. You know, just going with the flow. Yep. And gradually you kind of meet people and form friendships and get asked back. And but you know,
in that first couple of years in London, obviously, you know, there's so much going on. Not only have you moved from, you know, familiar homeland to a whole new place, but what do you think were the greatest learnings for you personally and professionally during that first couple of years?
Photographically, or as a person?
Bit of both.
Yeah, look, I was living at home before, and I hadn't lived out of home. So that was all very new. So I guess kind of balancing, trying to work, living at home is a big thing to start with, and with different personalities and different types of people, and working out how they do things and observing. And I definitely was an observer. Like, I just sat back, but I think I've been that most of my life anyway, because I'm like the third child, so you just kind of fit in. Same. So I think that kind of was okay. I suffered terribly from anxiety. I remember once just having to stop in the street and hold on to a lamppost, because I thought I was going to pass out, because it felt like it was so much to take in. Everything was so new. I was so far from home. I spent so much money calling home. They never seemed to call me. But I spent so much money calling home because I needed that connection. I think, though, it allowed me to really hone in on what I like, you know, things like, what do I like? What am I interested in? And really kind of fine tune it. Maybe to an unhealthy point, I don't know. But I remember becoming very tunnel visioned of, this is me, this is what I'm doing today, this is the mission I'm on, don't come near me. You know, this is where I'm going, this is what I like, this is, I don't know, the colander I'm going to buy for my kitchen because that's the one I really like. You know, everything became very micro kind of, I don't know, it just became very solid, which I think is a good thing too. And I notice it a lot in artists that I'm working with. I would like to get back there actually, because I feel like now I'm a bit everywhere. There's something in there. I was very kind of narrow, and I think the photographic industry at the time allowed me to be that too, because I was going after a certain type of fashion. I was creating a certain type of image. I was working with certain printers and certain makeup artists and certain stylists, and I was really fine-tuning it. And I think that's why, you know, I ended up with, I feel, pictures that are quite classic, you know, that everything was so kind of choreographed, I guess. Yeah. I don't know. There's you know, everything in life became choreographed. What I wore, what I, you know, everything. We had a Kim who I used to live with. We both had a tailor we'd go to who used to make trousers for the Rolling Stones. You know, you kind of just you kind of really made everything simple but sharp. I don't know. It's hard to explain.
Was it? Do you think it was being in that you know, that fashion world, like one of the centers of the worldwide fashion industry, and being around those people? Was it that kind of did you feel some sort of pressure, whether it was made up, like an external pressure, an internal pressure, to find your own style and to be sort of a unique person that fits into that world?
I think that I was just trying to I guess, doing that anyway, but there were a couple of times when it came up that it's a bit of a hard, I just have to think about it. I think I was loving doing that, you know, like it all felt simple because there was a structure, you know. And I guess this is where it's a little bit, I think you might have to tell me the question again.
No, it's all right. I was just sort of wondering whether it's like
my brain went somewhere else.
Yeah, whether it was sort of
to me twice a show. Don't worry.
Yeah, whether you feel like whether there was a pressure to become, I don't know, like a version of yourself that you wanted to see, like you sort of throw off the old you, and you're like, no, this is me. And
yeah, I don't think it was. Yeah. I don't think it was a pressure. I think it was actually welcomed. Like, I was really loving the trajectory. You know, I was enjoying it. I felt like I kind of knew who I was. And I don't think through my younger years I really knew who I was, or what I was about, or what I liked, or what I was interested in, or did anybody care. And then all of a sudden people kind of, in my small world, started to care about what I liked and what I thought was good, and what I, you know, because they were inviting me back to work more, and they were giving me jobs, or they were wanting to work with me. And I sort of found my people. Yeah. And I found what I liked. And I think through my childhood, I probably I was just there. I mean, we were told you're just there, you know, you're just there. I mean, I had a lovely upbringing, of course, and I was very lucky, but we were just kind of there. We didn't have, I wasn't in a family where you had an opinion on things, or it's not like you didn't matter. You did matter, but it wasn't like your self-expression wasn't, it just wasn't a thing. So if all of a sudden I'm self-expressing, and I was really enjoying it, because I was feeling kind of like, oh yeah, I think this is, and I think that, and they're like, okay, yeah, I agree, yeah, let's do that, and you're like, oh, okay.
You're just waiting for someone to be like, no, that's wrong, and you're like,
exactly.
Oh. but it never happened. Oh, that's amazing.
Exactly. So I did enjoy that. It's like, I do remember walking into there was a magazine in Condé Nast Brides magazine. It still goes. It's still around. And the fashion editor was from New York, AJ Knight. She'd come over and she invited me to come and see the collection that I was going to photograph for a shoot we were doing at the Waldorf Hotel and other places. And it was a big shoot, maybe 8 models, something like that, all in one shot a lot of the time. And she said, come and have a look at the dresses so we can work out which dresses we're going to put where. I'm like, oh God, what do I know? You know, that's what I'm thinking in my head. What do I know? So I walk into it's like in the movies, you know, there's this big room and there's all these gowns and she starts pulling them out. And I don't even think I took Polaroids. I may have at the time, just as a record, or they may have taken pictures on film and then got it processed, just with a little snappy camera. But I had to make some choices and I had to say, oh, that one. And I really had to trust my instinct and say, I think that one and that one and that one are really good for this area of the Waldorf. And then this one and this one, this one, we're doing the studio the next day. And I really had to trust my judgment on what was right, because I had this person who's, you know, pretty versed in her job, amazing. And I'm in Condé Nast, where Vogue is, and Tatler and all these magazines, and I've got holes in my shoes and it was raining outside, but I had to make some decisions and I had to trust my instinct. And I think that's actually, if I go back to your original question, that's something I did learn. Trust my instinct on things. Don't doubt myself, because that's what, you know, it's only my instinct. Like, it's no one else's. That's the thing I've got to own, is my instinct. And I still, you know, think about that today, and I still think about that day in the closet with those dresses. And then, of course, when you get on the shoot, they and you're on a location, they always say, which shot do you want to do first? And like, God, I don't know. I'm just so sweaty from unpacking all the gear. I can't even think about it. Okay, it makes sense to do A, but I actually feel like doing D. So. And then you like this in your head, and then you go, let's do D. Let's do that one. Because that's the one I feel like doing. That's the one I should do first, even if it doesn't make sense for hair and makeup, which often you've got to consider that, because if they've got to make changes, that time is money. But you've got to, I had to trust my instinct, trust myself. That's because they're big decisions. It's a lot of money riding on it, and you've got a team of people. It's not like being a landscape photographer and walking out there and going, oh, I can come back the next night or whatever, you know, the next day and get it in my own time. I mean, of course, you've got weather to think about and all of that, but you've got a load of people there and a lot of money from investors and whatever else, you know, advertisers, and you are only as good as your last job. That's the other thing that's always on your back. You know, you're only as good as what you're doing right now. Even the last shot, okay, oh God, that shot wasn't very good. And I used to find that if they went, oh yeah, they saw the Polaroid, oh yeah, I go, okay, oh yeah, it's not great. Let's just change this, you know, and because I kind of felt a bit, oh yeah, okay, as well. I had to push it more, push until I thought, I felt the spark, that spark you're talking about of, oh, okay, I'm excited now to press the button. Because film costs money.
Yeah. Indeed.
You know?
Yeah.
So you have
and time.
Yeah.
And time.
I was curious to ask about that. So trusting your instincts when it comes to shooting. I'm the sort of photographer, I second guess myself all the time. Even like I do a lot of sports and stuff. I did a mountain bike shoot with the same guy that I shoot with a lot. It's probably the 100th shoot we've done. We work together all the time. Even after that shoot, I know we got some shots, but I'm still like, I don't feel, you know, like hopefully they're good. I feel like that all the time. Did you, like you said that when you were excited, you were like, there was a spark and you're like, yeah, this is it. This is great. Did you ever feel when you were creating a great shot, did you ever feel like maybe you weren't sure if it was going to work? Or did you always, if it had that spark, you were like, I know we're on here?
Yeah, look, I when we were shooting film, I know that some of the shots would be, but I knew the one that's like, yeah, that's it. There's so many elements that need to come together, and when you're looking through the lens. I suppose there have been shoots where I've thought, oh, I don't know if it was that great, but maybe we'll be doing something in the printing where I'm going to change it or whatever. But I think usually I have it on set. If I don't have it on set, I feel like I haven't achieved anything, and what's the point of being there? I really do feel that. Like there's a lot on one of my shoots. There's a lot happening on the day, and I really want to enjoy it, and I really want to come away feeling like that was fantastic, and I want the assistants to come away feeling, wow, that was great. I really enjoyed that. And this is why I love the big productions, because you get that feeling, you get that adrenaline rush. So much has to come together, and then you're like, okay, this is why I do this. Because often there's been months of pre-production before walking in there, and then you've got that small window of 10 hours or a couple of days or 3 days or whatever the shoot is to create this thing. And sometimes there are pressures of people's clients' expectations that you will be doing more on the day, or and that's often that's a hard one to wrangle, I guess. I'm on tripod, this is the angle, this is the lens, this is what I'm doing, and then all the lights come in, kind of photographer. I don't move around, I don't change cameras, it's usually, one thing, and that's not laziness or anything. It's like buying that colander. I know what I want from this. I don't need to I don't need 20 different angles, but these days, of course, they need a lot of content and things, and that's where I trip up now. But I think that, I'm after that image that says everything in 1/250th of a second. I'm after that image that has the light, has the hair and makeup, has the model's position, has the garments looking great, has the magic, and I know when I've got that. And I suppose we don't stop until we have, because I can't walk away feeling until the next job feeling flat. I have to walk away feeling like I've created something that's worth creating.
Yep. Yeah. It's a long checklist to tick off to fit within that 1/250th of a second. And it's a really interesting perspective to put it that way, that there are so many elements that come together for this kind of shoot. But at the end of the day, it comes down to you mastering a fraction of a second.
Yeah.
And it all has to make sense. Like you said, it all has to tell the story in that 1/250th of a second. And that's no easy task.
No. And I feel I've been working a lot with dancers in the last few years and collaborating with choreographer Carol Brown, the head of dance at the College of the Arts. And I feel that 2/50th of a second sometimes works against me, because it's not just about the movement of dance and capturing a frozen moment. In fact, it's actually, you want the moment that keeps going, not just the moment that's frozen. That's a bit of a boring picture. And so I feel like sometimes what I create is limiting me getting the energy of the what we're creating as a team, me trying to get that perfect, thing that I've been trained to do, is limiting my expression, I guess, or what I see in front of me, because these dancers are incredible, and the choreography is amazing, and the whole thing is, there's so much to it. There's so much to get in that 2/50th of a second, so much of what you're feeling as you watch it. There's just so much. And it's a hard task. Like, it's a really, I find it's been a really hard thing to get. I guess most people have that thing that they find is hard to get through their lifetime, that that's why you keep going.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, and I think if you've spent so much of your life working towards that goal, who better than you to try and achieve that with a subject that's difficult to make that fit into one frame. I think it's a great pursuit. Certainly would be easier just to point a video camera at them and film them doing their thing and get it all,
That's right.
Yeah. It's a very different story.
But that's not such a challenge. I have a weird little question just about going back to, you were talking about shooting and what it's like on a shoot day and how much fun it is when there's a big crew around, a big production. Have you got any weird habits or rituals or procedures and processes, anything from like what you have for breakfast on a shoot day to how you do you have a team meeting at the start of the day, or do you never do that? Or I'd just love to hear more about like how's a shoot day evolved for you, and is there anything that now is like, this has to happen for me to have a good day?
I have to have my hair up. Actually, I have to have my hair
Me too.
up.
Yeah, that's fair.
Beard.
Yeah, after my beard up.
Yeah.
I have to have my hair up. I will firstly start. I just want to tell you about when I worked with Clive Arrowsmith. We meditated before the shoot, and
Oh wow!
and
Way to
that
get
was,
present.
that was pretty great, because he was in with the Ravi Shankar and people like that, and so there was the meditation before the shoot and the cleansing and all of that. But anyway,
Cool.
for me, what I do, I need to have my hair up. I need to wear clothes that are kind of very simple, I guess, nothing fussy. Runners. I need to have, I guess I've had breakfast or whatever. I don't really like eating on shoots that much because I get too tired after it. So, and I have always had assistants go, you haven't eaten anything, but I kind of run on the adrenaline and probably the coffee, more so. Working with Carol, we have done before the actual shoot and after the dancers have done their warm-ups, we have all done a warm-up, so everybody stops and we get into a circle, and so hair and makeup stops everybody, and we get into a circle and we all do a physical warm-up together and a little bit of, I guess, gratitude. And it kind of sounds a bit flowery, but it's actually fantastic, and because it helps the team, because there's usually more than 10 people. There's 10 plus on the shoot. And it helps everybody just kind of ground themselves, because often, hair and makeup are in a different space to us as the photographic team, and then the stylist is maybe in their area, and the set designer is kind of moving around, and there's quite a lot of people. But if we come together in a circle, and I often cry in that, so there's a few tears that are shed, because we've got to the point where we're actually doing the shoot. Yeah. And there's so much that's happened before that. Costumes are made, getting everybody together. You're just coordinating it all, thinking about it. Is this right? Is this the right color palette? Are we, is this, what am I going to do after that? Have I spoken to Sandy in Sydney? Have I, worked out how much film am I going to use? How are we going to work it? There's so much that I'm usually like, okay, I need that little release of the circle. Yeah. So and that's more recently.
There's something that happens in Japan for I think for most industries, where every morning they play a particular music track and they all do stretching exercises.
Okay.
I can't remember the name of it, but sometimes when you're out early on the streets of Tokyo, you'll see, people that are working on construction sites and things. They'll all be standing in a group, and the boss will be at the front, and the boss will be leading this exercise regime that they all have to do every morning.
How fantastic!
Yeah, I think it's wonderful. It kind of, when you were talking about it, a couple of things that made me think of was that it brings everyone back to the same level as well.
Yes.
You're all people, you've all got a task to do, but you're all the same. You're all just, yes, there is a hierarchy, of course, but in that moment, you're all just people moving through rhythm to start the day. And I think that's something very grounding. Like you said, grounding was a good word. Justin, I want to flip your question back on you, just out of interest. Do you have any rituals or habits that you do before any shoot?
I don't, but I'm going to make some, I think, after hearing that. I think I've got some room to. No, not really. Just gear preparation usually. And that, again, it's not a ritual enough because sometimes I don't do it as fastidiously as I do other times. But yeah, it's usually just like I like to get hands and eyes on every piece of gear that I know I'm going to need. I don't want to trust that it's in there.
Just in the bag,
Yeah, I pull it out, I look at it, put it back in, on each piece of gear that I know I'm going to need for the day. That's really probably it. And otherwise, making sure I've got, food and water and whatever.
I think touching the equipment is really important. Handling the camera, getting it out, having a look, checking it, cleaning it, loving, giving it a bit of love beforehand.
I think that's my process too. Is to get everything out, I lay it all out on a table or the bench, and I rethink my decision, because I would have packed the bag, say, the day before I'm doing something with the camera, and that morning I'll recheck everything and just make sure that my thinking and my decision making for the choice of lens and all of the extra bits and pieces that go along with the camera and in the bag, I kind of reaffirm those choices.
Yes.
Just to build that confidence that you've made the right choices. You're good to go. You've got everything you need.
And but sometimes you might think, oh, actually, maybe this might be good. Because touching, you think, oh, actually, maybe that might be good, and then you might, or something comes into your head, and you think, oh, I can't ignore, even though I don't have that. Maybe I need to go and hire it. I didn't think about that. But maybe I need it. And then I often go and get it, and I will use it. And it is the thing I use because, again, I've trusted my instinct on it.
Yeah. I think for me, it's it comes from a bit of a fear. I've had the worst times I've had on shoots of when I've been panicking because something's gone wrong. And it's usually because of an equipment thing that's probably my fault for not checking it. You go to pop a battery and that battery's actually flat, and I can troubleshoot it. I've got a spare body, a different thing. I'll figure it out. But then it puts me in like a bit. I used to shoot weddings a lot, so it was always like fast, and then it puts you in a state where you're not in that flow state where everything's working well. You're starting to troubleshoot silly problems that I should have picked up prior to the shoot. And so it's kind of trying to avoid that, that getting sucked into that mindset where everything's going wrong, and trying to make sure that when you're on the shoot that it feels like everything's going right. That's
That's a better place to be.
There's a lot more. Oh, sorry, go on.
No, please, Bronwyn, go ahead.
There's a lot more of that since digital, I feel.
Wow, is there? I thought film would be more terrifying to have such a high, like a huge production, 20 people or something like that, big budget, and it's all like resting around this film process. That would scare me. Do you think it's the other way?
Well, I definitely got into a rhythm with that. So we had a way that we did it. And so my assistants, we all knew how we were doing it, how the rolls were numbered, where the rolls went, how they were packaged up after they've been shot, where the Polaroid went, how the diagram went in the Polaroid book, all these sorts of, we had a system in place. But the equipment very rarely failed. The equipment just went and went and went and went. Nothing went wrong with it. The only time I did something stupid is this camera here, this Rolleiflex behind me, has a ground glass that comes out, and you can clean it. And I put it back in the wrong way, and I heard that David Bailey had done it too, so I wasn't that worried. But anyway,
you weren't the first.
I of course everything was out of focus. I'm like, why is it, is it my, is it my eyes? Anyway, I worked it out, but it was just tiny things like that.
Yeah.
It was never batteries. I mean, of course I had to charge batteries for that, but there was just less. And it was never electronic stuff. It was none of this. You need power for all that stuff. You didn't need, there's just so much stuff now.
Yeah.
Basically, before you just had your camera, your lenses, your light meter, and your tripod, and then your lights.
Yep.
Yep. And I just feel laptop and
Just before we move along, I just want to take a very brief moment just to remind everybody that you are listening or watching to the Camera Life podcast. And I can see in the chat that there's a couple of people that have snuck off to the loo or perhaps a quiet corner at work to have a watch and make some comments. But on that question of rituals before you go out on a shoot, if there's something that you do that's particular to you, share it in the comments and let us know whether you're watching live now or you're watching us back later. And while we're on that topic, give us a like for this video. It certainly helps us out a lot. It lets other people know that we have content that's worth viewing. And if you're new here, consider subscribing. If you hit the subscribe button and tickle the bell icon to always, you'll get notified in your time zone of every time we go live, which is every Thursday morning, 9 a.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time at the moment, or Standard Time later in the year. We interview an amazing photographer just like Bronwyn Kidd. And then every Monday night, we have our random photography show, 7:30 p.m. every Monday, Australian Eastern Daylight or Standard Time, where we just basically talk about the industry. We look at your photos. You can send in photos to be reviewed by us, and we'll show them on the show, and talk about industry news, the odd unpacking of some new gear. Most importantly, make sure you give us a like and a subscribe. It certainly does help us. I wanted to ask you a question, Bronwyn, about Polaroids. You've mentioned Polaroids a couple of times, as a quick test shot to make sure that what you envision is going to appear. What happens to all those Polaroids? Have you got a huge shoebox somewhere just full of them from the years? Is it something that you can revisit and perhaps make a product from, like a book, or even an exhibition?
Yeah, I do have a lot. I keep everything. We often cut them up on the day if we needed to make layouts or, something like that, and stuck them on a wall or stuck them in a book. As I said, I've got lighting diagram books because often I was asked to repeat lighting for products. So if I was working for, say, Marks and Spencer's and we had a set, we'd draw the set and we'd draw where everything is. So when we came back 3 months later, we did it exactly the same. So Polaroids went into that. So I've got books that have all of that information. I've got, shoebox pretty much of Polaroids as well. A lot of Polaroids of assistants standing in and, on set and all of that. Often they went in the back of the camera case as mementos of being on locations and different things. So they're sitting in the back of the camera case as well as like a montage. I have heard of people selling their Polaroids. I haven't done it myself, but it's something definitely could do or create a book out of. I suppose for me, the final image was usually on the film. So even the neck isn't the thing, it's the actual print. So it's the print we went into the darkroom to make that is the final thing, and that's for me where the memento is, I guess, or the the final work. So even when I look at the Polaroid, I think that was kind of where we want to get, but it wasn't where we got with it. So the print from the neg from the shot ends up being the thing that I usually most like. With I dabbled with 10.8 and 5.4 for various fashion shoots. Some of those Polaroids are really beautiful to look at. Everyone loves the photographer Paolo Reversi, and he shoots a lot on Polaroid. And so, often when a Polaroid would come out quite green, everyone would go, "Oh, it's just like Paolo Reversi." And, and that's what, makeup artists particularly really love that style. But shot to finish on Polaroid, like that was that's his thing. It was such a great thing, so toxic, but such a great great thing. And you always had to take a rubbish bag with you back then, which we don't really take now on shoots. So always had a rubbish bag in the camera bag for the Polaroids. Always had a Polaroid box to put the Polaroids into that, you'd taken it out of the 669 box or whatever Polaroid you had. I love them, but I guess I never saw them as the final result because I knew there was so much more to do to it for me. Yeah.
Very fair.
I wouldn't mind.
Go on, boss.
I wouldn't mind dialing back a little bit. I've got a note written down here, and I want to ask about it because we're still yet to get to cameras. We'll get to that at some point. And I wouldn't mind having a look at some of your images at some stage as well, and maybe getting you to talk us through how they came to life. But back when you were in London, you were assisting, and you got your foot in the door assisting, and you were leaning into like trusting your instincts. How was it going, like trying to make the transition from assisting to shooting and running your own shoots and being the lead photographer? Was that a challenge? Was there pushback from the people that you had worked with to try and stop that from happening, or was it embraced? I'd really love to know what that was like.
I think if I had have done it here, where I'd assisted for 4 years or so, it would have maybe been a bit harder. But there I didn't. I got there in 92 and I started shooting in 92. So I assisted so I could find out the lay of the land, I guess, and also just meet people. I assisted Polly, who I photographed for the Cantor Prize, and that was amazing. I know everybody was very encouraging, so they wanted you to go out and do your own thing. There was enough for everybody, really, and because it goes back to what I was saying before about in London you really had to have a style. My style was my style, and no one else was doing that look. So, and the next person's was their style, and so you knew you got the job you were meant to get, and if it was because it was right for what you did. The assisting, look, do you know what? I actually stopped assisting and I started working in a cafe, and that was what I had to do to kind of remove myself from assisting, even though I hadn't assisted in London that long. I felt mentally for me, I needed to withdraw from it and do something else to become a photographer. So I ran a cafe in Camden Market and met actually, great friends that I have now still from that time. And, people from different walks of life, not just the photographic world. So that's what I had to do. Thinking back, I had to remove myself from the industry. Personally, I don't think anybody I worked for they were all encouraging because they were doing their own thing and being booked for what they do. So that was kind of the understanding there. But I did have to go off and do something else. And waitressing was what working in a cafe was what I did. And then just, spending my days concentrating on getting work and finding out who was who and what was what. Because assisting takes up the whole day most of the time, and you're pretty exhausted at the end of it. And you're very much in that person's world when you're assisting. And I kind of needed to be in my own world to be able to think about where I wanted to go. So waitressing was a better option for me with that.
I think that's amazing, an amazing story and potentially amazing advice for people as well, where it's like there's a point where you maybe need to make the jump, and even if that means subsidizing with something that's not in the industry, but it means you can be the thing that you want to be rather than potentially getting stuck for longer in the world of assisting.
There were definitely professional assistants in London, and I guess I looked at that and I thought, I don't want to be that, so I better do something else. And they were great to work with. I remember working with one professional assistant, and he was probably, look, he seemed old to me at the time, but he was probably like 35 or something. But he was happy with that. He didn't want to, and he worked with Peter Ashworth, who's a pretty amazing photographer, did the Eurythmics album cover with Annie Lennox, like that, you know. So worked with him, and his assistant was really, kind of like a roadie, actually, that kind of person. And great to work with, just was so there for Peter, and just great to witness that. But I didn't want to be that, not that I wasn't there for the photographer, I was very much, but I kind of knew I wanted to be a photographer.
Yeah. And would you say that for anyone wanting to get into a particular genre, that looking for an assistant role is still a great way to learn the ropes?
Yeah. I don't think you can be so, I think it's the only way to me to learn. I don't know if you can come out of college and start. I mean, maybe some people can, maybe people in the art world can, maybe people in e-commerce can, I don't know. But I think, definitely people in the art world can. But I think if you want to be an advertising photographer, if you want to do weddings or whatever, I think you need to learn not just how to take the photo, but how to conduct yourself professionally, or how not to, from whoever you work for, and how to work a business as well. And look, I've never been great. I wasn't a great business person. All my money went on new, not cameras, but camera was expensive, the one that I bought, but prints for my folios. I had 10 folios at one stage, all hand printed, all hand retouched, and then after that it was spending on retouching, and when we went into Photoshop and digital, and then equipment was a lot more expensive. But I think you've got to be able to charge properly for what you do, and you learn that through working with people. I mean, maybe even working with an agent or a producer is a good thing to do as well, now that I look back on. If you can get some kind of assisting role there, if advertising is what you're interested in, or the commercial side of photography, because they know how to work the money, probably better than most photographers do. I think assisting is really important, and you build lifelong friendships. Jackie Henshaw and I have been friends well since I was in high school, because our mothers did a China painting together. I always forget if it's China painting or cake decorating. It's one of those. Jackie will correct me. And Jackie's still my great friend, and if I really need to ask her advice, I'll give her a call. And I think that bond is always there. When you're assisting someone, you have usually formed this great friendship, and you have so many laughs and you have so many memories. It's not like you're going to the office for a day. You're actually there creating things, you're making things, you're experiencing, I don't know, Jackie and I, we laughed so much, and we still laugh about those same things. And it's really important. It's not just a work thing. It's a lifetime bond. And as with Andrew, as with all the stylists, Virginia that I work with, Sarah, who's not alive anymore. There's all these people, makeup artist Karen she's in Edinburgh. They're great friendships, and I think assisting kind of helps you to see your place and be humble and learn and just get the vibe of what's going on. It's an important thing to do for a good length of time.
Don't just once and then you're like, all right, now I know. I went on one shoot with a professional. I'm ready to go.
Well, and that's what. Sorry, I've just got to ask my stepson to put the dog out.
Hang on. More than okay. We are very dog friendly here, so you take your time.
Right. Just ask you, and you let him out. He's pounding at the door. It took me a long time to call myself a photographer. It took me probably a decade to call myself a photographer. Someone said to me, what do you do? What's your work or whatever? I just say, I take photographs or whatever. But I didn't say I'm a photographer. It's something you earned. And I didn't feel I'd earned it until quite a way down the line.
Yep.
So I find it interesting that other people don't think that way, these days. They're like, yeah, I'm a photographer, I've got a website, I got this, I got that. And
you want to hear a funny story? So when I first decided I was going to start trying to build a photography business, not just I was just enjoying learning about cameras and stuff like that and shooting, but I made the decision. I was like, all right, I'm going to try and make this into something. And I got some business cards made, and it said Justin Castles, photographer, on it, and it had my phone number on there. And my sister goes, so I guess all you need is a business card and you're a photographer, hey? I was like, but it's like, well, what else? I mean, it's different in, I was taking photos of families and pets and stuff like that. It's kind of different. You have to tell them you're a photographer, otherwise they won't know what you do. Whereas when you're in the world of higher end productions and assisting and stuff like that, it's kind of different. Like you say, you sort of need to earn that because you know what a photographer is in that world. And it's not something that you can just call yourself if you haven't done it, if you haven't been at that level yet. So it's sort of a different, different thing.
Yeah. I mean, I think I say all this, I suppose I've softened a bit more because everyone's a photographer now, aren't they? But I did feel that for a long time. I thought, you know what, it took me a long time to say that, to have the confidence to say I am a photographer. And now I don't know what I am, actually, to be honest. I don't know if I'm an artist, I'm a photographer, but James wrote recently for me that I'm a collaborative expressionist. And I thought, I like that. Okay. I'll take that on.
That's got a nice ring to it. I'm a collaborative expressionist.
Yes.
Can go lots of different avenues with that too. That's it's very freeing.
Exactly. Well, I feel that's what's happening now. Like I am doing lots of different things. So it's the photography is I mean, it's still very important and it is the thing that I do, but there's so much that surrounds it. And there's projects I'm involved in that I'm like, oh, where does the photography come into this now? That's kind of where things are at the moment. It's interesting.
Well, I think it's good because rather than being limited by a job title and what everyone expects falls under that job title umbrella, you've broadened your scope. And I think you've reached a place in your life and career where you can quite confidently say, I'm more than a photographer now. I think that's the next evolution. You took a decade to reach that point where you could call yourself a photographer, and now you're more than a photographer, I think would be fair to say.
Yeah. Although I do listen, you see things on Instagram and what YouTube and whatnot, and you listen to an interview with Richard Avedon, or I saw one yesterday with Don McCullen, and he just said, I am a photographer. That's it, And I thought, okay, how did I pass that now? What's happening? Well, I don't know what I am now. They're very strict on what they are. I'm not an artist. I'm not a photographer. I mean, they even say photography is an art. Some of them. That's a whole nother topic.
Mine isn't.
Isn't it?
No.
Don't be silly.
Well, I wrote this note down earlier as well, but there definitely seems to be, for me, like you talked about you in the very early days, the ability to control and create the scene, I guess, the photograph from, you know, all the elements, subject, lighting, what's going to get included. That was sort of, you just thrived in that situation. Whereas I've always been the opposite. I'm more like, give me something to document. If someone says, all right, you've got a blank slate, what do you want to do? I'm like, I have no idea. Nothing. I'm a blank slate. My mind goes blank and that's it. Whereas if there's something that I can work around in a scene to immerse myself in, that's different. So it's, and I've always wondered whether that's just a different type of creative brain that some people have, that just inherent thing where they can give them a white room and say you can put whatever you want in here and create a photo. Their brain just lights up with like, oh, wait, this is gonna be the best day ever. Whereas I would be like, I have no idea what I'm gonna do.
Yeah. And I'm the opposite. I find it easier to have that white room.
Yeah.
I find it more difficult to have the other. I find it easier. Maybe it's a control thing. I don't know. But to start from scratch with something and have a white cove in the studio and say, okay, now let's bring in everything, you know, and let's make that. Whereas, you know, to go to my husband, he photographs events and things. I can't do it. I'm not good at that. It's just not my. I find it, what should I photograph here? What do they want? What do they want from this? Or, but I find it the same going into a clothes store. You know, if I go into a clothing store that has, you know, everything everywhere, like say, I don't know, Zara or whatever, I can't think. But if I go into a clothes store that has like 5 things, you know, I find it much easier to get my head around it or to be inspired by it. It's just different types, isn't it?
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, I think so. It's, you know, it's a spectrum. You know, we love spectrums these days. It's a spectrum. I think there's a whole scale of but I think there is in photography. I think, you know, people sit at different ends of that scale and contribute to the craft in different ways, and one is not better than the other. It's just how our brains work, and I think that diversity is the beauty of what we do, that we do see things differently. Justin can take photos of people and engage with them in a way that I don't have that skill, you know. But he's just a different photographer than me. He's a very technical photographer, but he's got a great personality. I'm more of a reclusive photographer, and I'm more expressive.
And you've got a great personality.
Oh, shut up. Stop it. Anyway. I'd really like to talk about your experience with the Martin Cantor Portrait Prize. But I think first what we might do is actually, Justin, do you mind bringing up the image from Bronwyn's? It's the front image as soon as you go on the website. And if everyone wants to play along at home, you can head to bronwynkid.com. Sweet and simple.
One moment, I'm getting there.
Anytime you're ready, boss.
Yeah.
No pressure.
Professional outfit that we're running here. Hang on, let me just resize this. Dun, 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 dun. There we go.
Okay. So this is your award-winning image that you've created. Talk to us about. We'll get to the accolade and the celebration in just a moment, but talk to us about what was that seed for this image to be made?
Well, I've started doing a series of women artists, and it's an ongoing project. I have known Polly since I went to London in '92. I got her details from a photographer I was assisting before I went to London, but I knew of Polly back in the early 80s when I started taking photographs, because she did the promotional pictures for the band that I chased around Melbourne. So I knew her name. Then this photographer gave me her address to write to her, because that's what we did back then. And so I wrote to her, and we met up in a cafe, and we just hit it off straight away. We were just having fun, and I think I might have told this story before, but we were in this cafe in Chelsea, and she said, you know, don't look now, there's Bob Geldof over there. And we just were like, I don't know, we were just in this lovely bubble. And Polly asked me I assisted Polly on quite a few different shoots. And that was fantastic. And we've just stayed in contact ever since. So I probably assisted her last in about 96. I worked on the Michael Hutchins shoot with her, one of his, I think it was his last shoot. And she called me up and said, would you like to come on this? And I was working as a photographer at that time, but I was like, yeah, of course, I'd love to come and work on it. So, there's just a shared love of photography there. And that's a fantastic thing, and appreciation of photography and what it takes to be a photographer. And Polly's moved into the art world. She's now she's always been an artist, but she's making sculptures as well now. She lives in LA, and she comes to Melbourne once or twice a year, and we tried to I asked her if I could do a portrait. I had photographed her back in 95, I think it was, for GQ magazine, for like a contributors page, of which I've got a contact sheet that I have as part of my collection, a large contact sheet from that shoot. And but I hadn't photographed her since then. And she was coming back to Melbourne, and she said, yeah, let's do it. And we tried, this was the third time we tried to do it. There was COVID, there was lost luggage, there was all different things that happened. And anyway, finally it came along, and I was like, oh, how do I do this? Like, looking, every idea I came up with, Polly had kind of done something of that ilk. And whether it be lots of coloured gels or a certain shallow focus or whatever it be, whatever I thought of, I looked back on her archive and I thought, she did that with this person and that with that. I can't do that. And then I just thought, well, what do I do best? And I think I do like a really classic lighting studio set best. And so I kind of got a reference of Yves Saint Laurent, a self-portrait of him that I think Avedon did, or it's not a self-portrait of him that Avedon did as a campaign. And I thought, this is the sort of thing I want to do, just really simple. And when Polly turned up to the studio, she was wearing the all black, and she had two of these capes, a black one and this pink one. And it just seemed to work really well. She's just got her arm up on like that, and the cape is following the line of her arm. And we did a mixture of digital and film. I've got now for my Hasselblad, I didn't know they made them until the last few years. I found out they made a film back for my H2. Sorry. So I used that. So it's a 645 format.
Yep.
And anyway, there's actually quite a few shots. Polly's okayed about 12 frames, but this one I thought I'd put into the Portrait Prize. No one had seen it. Nobody knew I'd done a portrait of Polly, and we rushed to get it ready. We scanned the neg, then retouched the neg in with Visual Thing, my retouches, and then outputted the neg to 5.4, outputted the digital file to 5.4 neg, and then printed it in the darkroom on metallic paper, Kodak metallic. And I left all the rebate. I love rebate on images. I left all the rebate. I like this one has the digital readout as well. That means that it's come from my Hasselblad.
Yeah.
And I was looking at that at the top, and I was like, oh, yeah, that's very cool to leave that.
Yeah. And then I also left down the bottom where the greeny coloured bit is near the Portrait 160. That's the sticky tape from the scan. So I left that as well. So the materiality has become quite important. And I felt like I wanted to show that because of our connection as photographers.
As photographer, yeah.
I might not show it for somebody who's maybe a painter or a printmaker or whatever, but I felt that it was right. So you've kind of got the classic mixed with the materiality, and yeah, so I it's quite a lot of work gone into it, but hopefully it doesn't, I think it sort of doesn't look like, you can't see the work. And that's, I think, what I love. That's what I like to do. I kind of like to put a lot in, but I hope the image doesn't show it all. It's hard to explain. It doesn't show the work. It doesn't show all the behind the scenes. It just is, you just see it as the image.
And again, it's just that 1/250th of a second.
That's right.
And I think what I love most about this image, obviously the lighting is phenomenal and captivating, and it leads you around the frame. But I think, for me, is that the image has a timeless quality to it. This could be in the 60s. It could be in the 90s, or it could be today. I think that's almost part of the story. There's a timelessness for me in my interpretation of it.
Yeah.
And so when you submitted this image for the Portrait Prize, was the framing, what did you call it? Sorry, I missed the term you used.
The rebate.
The rebate. That's right. Yeah. Was the rebate included in the print?
Oh, exactly as you see it. So
right. Yep.
What I often do is, and this isn't it because this is we print on metallic paper, but when I've done the print, I then photograph the print. So what you see on my website of more recent artworks is actually photographs of the print.
Right. Yep.
It's not the digital file, but this one is the digital file because we printed on metallic. It wouldn't really show up. And I guess I don't in the edition, because there's 8 in the edition of this. I don't really want to be tied to metallic paper because it's obsolete. So so there's an edition of 8 plus 2 artist proofs of this image that will exist, but they may be on different papers. So I just put it. That's a digital file that you're looking at now. But yeah, all of that was in it, and that's what Natasha Bullock and the what do you call the people that were the judges really liked about it, was that it was sort of a return to photography in that way, but it had the digital background as well. It's very layered, actually. It's very layered. And I kind of like that's complicated. It's expensive, but it's complicated. And it's complicated. It's tricky because it is becoming a really expensive process to shoot on film, process, make a contact sheet, scan the neg, retouch the neg, output back to neg, print.
And then photograph the print for online.
And then photograph the print online, 9 steps.
Yeah, it's a lot. Just a couple of quick comments here about the image. To me, the image frame almost acts as an artist statement, but without the words. And Julie Powell, a friend of the show, says, I love that artist statement without the words. And I agree. I think it's, after I'd sort of, the first time I absorbed the image and then noticed the framing, and I was, looking at your settings and I was learning a bit from it as well about what went into this moment in time. I thought that was really compelling. So you've submitted it for the Ballarat Biennale, you know what I mean, the festival. I'll get it one day. And what was that moment when you were notified that you had won the Martin Cantor Prize? What was that like for you?
Well,
how did that transpire?
I wasn't notified. So a lot went into getting it done quickly for the prize, and it's a bit of a long story, but I took it to my framers, Arton Framers in Abbotsford, and they were also doing a couple of others. So they said, if you're driving up to Ballarat, can you take these others as well? So I said, yes, of course. So I took a couple of others framed pictures with me, and it was the day of like 5 o'clock that day. They were closing the door on taking the submissions, and well, firstly it was nice to know that I was in the prize, but then you have to get print to them. My print wasn't ready, so Sandy had to print it, I had to get it framed, then I had to rush it there on the day. When I got there, I was met at the exchange, the mining exchange, where the offices are, by some people that work for the Biennale, and they said, "Oh, are you taking pictures to the Cantor Prize?" And I said, "Have you got something for Cantor Prize?" And I said, "Yeah, I've got a few." And they said, "Oh, just put them in the van. We're going to wherever after this." They don't know where they said, to wherever they were going, and I was in such a fluster. I just said yes, and I put all these pictures, including mine and these other photographers, in this van. And then I thought, I didn't get any sign-off paper or anything. Like, what have I done? Did I give these?
It could have been a heist.
People? It could have been. And so I didn't think about that till I got out of Ballarat. I'm on the freeway. I had to stop the car, send an email. They'd all gone home, so I sent an email, and it was a Friday. And they got back to me on the Monday. Said, no, it's all fine. It's all fine. We've got them. But I was so worried. And anyway, so there was that. And then the next week, there was no notification. There was an email that came through that said, here's a pass for the day to the Biennale. Any other pass you'll have to get, buy for yourself, like a month, the whole Biennale pass or whatever. And that's fine. And then I got an email the day before on the Saturday saying, we're just checking who's coming to the opening, and attached was a pass for the whole Biennale. And I thought, oh, that's weird that they've attached a pass. I replied, yes, I'm coming. Anyway, then went with my friend Kim Tonelli, who I hope you'll interview as well, on the day. She said, don't be tied to it. Don't expect to win. And I said, you know what, I just want to see it on the wall now. Yeah. And so we got there, and really I was in that space I was so exhausted by it. I just wanted to see it on the wall. But when we walked in, it was right near the title, Martin Cantor Prize. But I have had that quite often, where I'm near the title. So often when they're doing their speeches, they stand near the thing that says what the prize is. And I have had my photo right there a few times. So I thought, oh, that's, it's not going to happen for me this time. And anyway, they didn't do the speeches there. They did them somewhere else. And when they said my name, I was like, I actually couldn't believe it. I was so surprised, because I checked out by that point. I just wasn't, I was just there to see it on the wall. And Kim was filming the whole thing, and my cousin was there. She lives in Ballarat. And anyway, it was fun. And then I got whisked off to the podcast, Harry Met Sally.
Yep.
And it was just a lovely day. It's such a great event, the whole Biennale. It's so wonderful that photography is celebrated for that couple of months. It's a long time, and so many great exhibitions on, and we were in a cloud of, it just felt amazing. It was just it was good for me, because I felt like, you just get to points where you feel a bit despondent about what you're doing. And I really was like in that place. And I saw Polly in December. She was here for an opening of one of her exhibition, and she was just so pleased for me. And we messaged also on the day that we won, and she was just so happy. That I think also because she's quite a star in the art world and in the photography world. She's a big name, and I think she was really pleased that she could do that for me, and through our connection, our connection since the 90s. And hopefully through the rest of our lives. And it was a really lovely, the whole thing was perfect, really.
Well, it's a pinnacle of your relationship as well as creatives, isn't it? It's you both come together to make this possible, and that just doesn't happen overnight. That takes trust and friendship and being honest with each other. And I think that's such a beautiful outcome, that the winner of the Portrait Prize is actually a photographer. You know, I mean, in the image, you know, that the winning image is actually of a photographer. I think that's a beautiful, what's that? Art impersonating life. Is that the statement?
Yeah.
I don't know if that fits.
Fantastic. Yeah, no, that's correct. And Polly is exceptional. You know, she is an exceptional artist, exceptional photographer, exceptional person, and so giving. And I really am glad that this portrait is of her, you know, and that I've won it with a portrait, that we have won it with a portrait of her. And yeah, it's a really, it's a great, it's a nice full circle for me.
Yeah, no, it's wonderful. I'm very conscious of time, and I think we need to talk about gear for a few minutes before we wrap up today's episode of the Camera Life podcast. Justin, do you want to fire away with some questions about gear choices?
Well, no, first I just want you to show us that camera behind you, if that's possible.
Oh, yes.
And tell us all about it. That's what I would really I've been eyeing it off the whole episode.
Oh, wow.
Battery goes there. This is the Rolleiflex 6008, and this is the camera that I shot that photo there on of Kefri and the dancers. But this was my camera of choice in London. So when I got to London, I had I'd worked with photographers on all different cameras. You know, as an assistant, mostly Mamiyas back then. Some photographers had Bronicas. No, people were mostly shooting medium format, people I worked with. When I got to London, there were a lot of photographers, including Polly, that were shooting on Pentax 6.7. Of course, Hasselblads were in London and in Melbourne. I didn't feel that at home with any of them, really. Like, I didn't feel like this is my camera. And at the time, this is what I had through college. So this is a Canon F1. And this is what I bought in 1987, 86, 87. And so this is what I used, and this is what I did the portraits of Polly on. I don't know why, but I did in 94 or 5 whenever I did them. Don't know why I did. But the great thing about this, what I loved, is that the prism comes off, so you can use it like this. It was used a lot with the press photographers. They liked it, that they could kind of be a bit more discreet. I suppose it looks a bit more Leica-ish in that way. So you could be on a tram or whatever, and you'd just be, take the, it still does the
nice street photographer style. That's right up my alley. Shooting from the hip, looking down.
That's right. That's right. So that's the F1. So that's what I had, and that's what I went to London with. It's all metal. It's all metal. And but before that, when I was at high school, I used this Pentax ME Super. That was my dad's. Look at the strap.
Oh, we have to do something about that.
From Indianapolis. From America.
Oh, wow.
So that's what I did my high school photos on, was the Pentax. But so
has that strap got has it got film roll holders? Is that what the that's so cool.
That's awesome. Oh, we need to make one of those.
Incorporate that into yours.
Yeah, we might have to. That's so cool.
That's good, isn't it?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Classic.
Bobby Lee, it's by Bobby Lee.
Bobby Lee. Wow, that's so awesome.
And so, so when it came to me needing to get a camera, because I had work coming in, I had worked with a photographer, Simon Brown, who did a lot of Laura Ashley. So I was working in London assisting this photographer, and he had got this camera, the Rolleiflex 6008. And it was great. I found that when I was rolling on, to load it and everything, I found it really easy. So that's the back for it. And then the film cartridge is in here.
Yep.
And that goes in on there. And then you put it on the camera, and then you would pull that down. Now you've pulled the dark slide down, because the dark slide is inside. It's like a concertina. So it actually, it's not like a Hasselblad where you have to pull it out, or a Mamiya, or you pull it out and you've got to find somewhere to put it, put in your pocket, you sit on it, whatever. It's actually all, I'll show you.
Just contained. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's amazing, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So this camera was actually made to take a digital back in the early 90s.
Oh, wow.
They hadn't created them yet, but they were going there, and Rolleiflex teamed up with Leaf and created backs, but then Phase came in with Hasselblad and they took over really the industry. Anyway, this is a fantastic camera. It's what I shot everything on, and there's so many great features of it. So this is the grip. I can actually turn the whole camera around.
Oh, wow.
Which is pretty amazing. I can turn the hood around so I can shoot from any angle.
That's crazy.
Nuts.
And it works in thirds of a stop on here.
Yeah.
So, and on the lens. So everything I shot, I could be within an eighth of a stop of what I really wanted.
Yep.
So for me, it was a perfect camera, and it went for me from 92 to 2004.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I came back to Australia, I needed to take on digital. And I did try the Leaf on this, but I felt like something said to me, you need to change now, because if you're going to invest this amount of money, you need to get something that's going to last. Know that the software is going to, like, everything's going to last. So I moved to Hasselblad, and so which I still use now. So I've got used my H2, and I've got an H1, and I had it started with a P45 back, but now I have an IQ 180. But I mean, this is eight years old now, but still, it's pretty amazing quality. The only thing that I have trouble with now is the grip batteries. So can't buy the normal ones anymore, the rechargeables. I have to use this battery one, so I have to get batteries for it every time I shoot, pretty much.
Oh, so you put batteries inside that part of it now,
so it's just got like a batteries in there. It's like for on location, and I had 2 of these anyway. But all my grips have died, and you can't really get them anymore. I bought some reconditioned grips, and they didn't last. So just throw that out, and so I just use that. And I've got a film back for this as well, which is really, really great.
Yeah.
But to be honest, I am in a quandary of where to go next. I have been looking at the X2D Hasselblad and thinking about that. I think that's probably the only option for me. I tried Leica, wasn't for me. I'm not a 35 mil person. I'm really a bit stuck, to be honest, as to where to go next. This is not on the shoots. Like, I use this on my dance shoots and my art shoots and the film back and the poly shoot and portraits and things, but it's not really that user friendly anymore for commercial jobs. And it's just, I'm finding it hard to focus it. It's failing me a bit. And I have found lately that I have to go through a certain routine for it actually to connect to Capture One. So I have to have the have the body back turned off, have the body turned off, then turn on the back, plug it in, then plug into the computer, and then start Capture One, and then turn on the body.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
and that's the recent thing. That's like, I don't know if the software's done that or what's done that. I never had issues. I mean, I remember when I first bought it, Rory saying to me, this is the sequence. But I never adhered to the sequence because who's got time?
Yeah.
And,
you just need it to work.
You just need it to work. But now I had to sit down, and I spoke to a friend. He has a business, MacTune, and we went through it all together, and we just went through all the different ways that you can do it, and we worked out that's the system. And so now I have to do that chain to get it to work. Too hard basket. Like, it's just getting too hard. So
we interviewed Peter Colson was that last week, Justin, or the week before?
And
he was shooting with Hasselblads. What was he using?
I'm pretty sure it was the same as that.
He uses this, but he seems to have Leica and all sorts of things from what
he has everything.
He's got Leica too, but he talked about why he didn't switch to the X2D, the things that he didn't like about that, and he talked about various issues with that camera, despite the fact that he loves it and he's in tune with it after so many years of shooting, but multiple backs have died on him. And like he has to take a spare back when he travels internationally and things like that.
A back.
So he's got multiple backs. I don't think it was an IQ 180 though. I can't remember what back he was using for it, but he's had them die. Yeah, so it's one of those things that's sort of they're sort of iconic pieces of gear that are coming, I guess, towards the end of their useful life, but there's not it's like what to go to next. It's kind of
it's really hard because, as he was saying, it's got to feel right, and I don't feel it's like that shoot with Jackie with that model. Like, if I've got my husband shoot, he's got Canon, and he's Norman Kruger, he's got Canon.
I was going to ask you.
Yeah, Norman Kruger, and he loves it, but I don't feel special with it. I don't feel like I'm creating something special. I need to have a camera that I feel like together we're making something really special.
It's cool, isn't it? It's got to feel right in your hand. It's got to
feel right. I mean, I did realize, like, I don't really like this format. I prefer a square format, but what can I do? It's not possible. So this is like magic to look through. You just look through it and you just like, oh my God, everything looks like a photo. Yeah. It looks like a photo. And this kind of gets there, but I don't know. If you've got any answers, let me know. Because I'm in the market.
We're probably not the best people for high-end studio camera reviews, but I mean the only thing is, that would be. Have you shot with the X2D yet? The mirrorless Hasselblad.
I borrowed it. Yeah, I borrowed it, and I liked it.
How did it feel?
It actually felt good to hold. Still, looking through the lens isn't like, because it's a mirrorless kind of weird effect inside, that digital effect. I don't really care about the things that Peter was talking about with knowing his exposure and everything. I don't need that. But it felt good, and the pictures were beautiful, like what came off it. But you have to use the focus software. You can't use Capture One. So that's a whole new thing. But because I'm not shooting as I used to commercially, it doesn't really matter. Like, if I want to use focus, if I have to use focus, I have to use focus. But in the advertising world and working with assistants and digital operators, they have their systems and they all work on Capture One. So, but Capture One and Phase and Hasselblad aren't talking. So, actually, physically, so that's not going to happen, which is a shame. But the focus software is good.
I'm not right up with this stuff. So you'd want to do some research with people that are. But and Greg's going to love that I'm about to say this, the Fujifilm GFX 100 II, which is their top end model, essentially has the same size sensor. I think it is the same sensor as far as I'm aware, Greg, you might know that, as the
I'm not
Hasselblad.
sure. Yeah.
But they have different color science and stuff in them. So certainly there are major differences, but essentially they're working off the same size sensor, which is not the full size medium format. It's larger than 35, but smaller than what you're used to with a full medium format back.
Yeah.
But it has the GFX 102 has a great viewfinder with double the resolution of the Hasselblad, the
Right.
viewfinder that you're looking through. So you might find that it feels more like less like you're looking at a screen and more like you're looking at a photo.
Yes.
So it could be worth trying that one. It's the biggest one that they do has the good viewfinder. That would be interesting. But then you'd have to like look at whether their lenses have what you're looking for and all that sort. It's a whole different system. But and I'm pretty sure they would be more. I'm positive they work with Capture One. I think they work with Lightroom.
They do
as well. Like they're a lot more, probably a bit more accessible than the Hasselblad. So that could be an option. Other than that, I don't know. It's a whole different world.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. A couple of weeks ago on one of our Monday night shows, Justin was talking about how, when you decide to invest in either a new camera or a new piece of glass, that your inherent skills take a backward step, or your inherent quality of work takes a backward step because you have to now master something that's foreign to you. A builder doesn't pick up a brand new nail gun and know how to, instantly make it work for him. It takes time to get to know it, and cameras are no different. Have you ever found that with as you make those upgrades in your gear, that actually there's a little bit of a backward step? Maybe quality is not the right word, but things just feel less comfortable for you. Do you find that, or are you able just to pick it up and go for it?
No, I definitely felt that with moving from the Rollie to the Hasselblad, like it was, and also you had the digital component also and giving up the darkroom. But it took a long time for me to get to feel right looking through the Hasselblad. It was a different format. It just was different to hold. It was a totally different experience. It wasn't as I had to imagine more, because looking through the Rolleiflex, it just is there. The picture is there, and there's just something in it that I was attuned to. It just worked for me. But the Hasselblad took a long time. Now that's all I've done. I don't really use other cameras. So, but there would be shoots where I'd shoot on 10.8 or 5.4, or I'd borrow a Fuji GX 680, and because I wanted the shift and tilt, and I just kind of did it because I knew I wanted the effect of it, and I bypassed the emotional side of it. But when you know that this is your tool for all the time, I think you've got to feel really comfortable with it. These two cameras I have felt. So it is scary going into something else. If they could just have the Rolleiflex viewfinder in the Hasselblad and be connected to phase, then we'd be all good.
Perfect.
But it does put you off. It's like anything, and we are expected to know it. It's like when I was an assistant, I was expected to know how to use strobe. I didn't know how to use those big strobes. I worked with Elinchrom and later Broncolor, and there was a guy here that made his own lights that everybody had. They were Bowen's light, but he configured them. Going into those studios like John Street's studio or Peter Bailey's studios, where they had these massive boxes, these strobes that everyone said, oh, you'll get electrocuted. I just didn't. And this plug goes in that plug. Don't put that one in that one, and don't have that one in that one. Well, you've got that one. It was all very confusing. And you felt a bit stupid. You felt like, oh, but I do know my thing, but I don't know that equipment. And I think people do expect us to know everything and be, oh, you're a photographer. Can you show me how to use my camera? Well, not really.
Yeah, like if you have a Hasselblad, I can.
Exactly, Justin. Exactly. And I don't know. I mean, I haven't been a geary person. Like I haven't been a big accumulator of gear. I do love experimenting with lights. And that was the great thing about working in London. It was assumed that you would hire in your lights. So no one had their own lights. You just turn up to the studio, they get delivered, you place your order, they get delivered from wherever you rent them from. And it meant that you could change and swap and, oh, what's that there? I might try that, and experiment on the day and just get all this stuff in that you can play with. And that I do love, and I don't mind playing with that. But the camera, I'm not as interested in. Like, I really want to feel, but saying that, even with the lights, there's some attachments that I know, this is the attachment I love. I want that.
Yeah.
Or that. And if everything else I don't have, I just need those two things.
Yeah.
What are those two things? You got a couple of go-to modifiers that you're like, if I need to be dropped in a studio on the other side of the world, I need at least to have these things.
Well, I love, I used to, when I did a lot of lingerie and hosiery photography, the attachments I used a lot were the 50-50 softbox, so a small square softbox, ring flash, and later on the par reflector from Broncolor. So I have my own par reflector, which is a very shiny dish, small dish, with a lip, which you can put a grid on, but you also get a soft glass for the tube, so you get a frosted glass with it. So it differs a bit more. And then after that, of course, I love the fluter, which is a big hexagonal kind of like it's like an old film light, but you stick the flash in the back of it and you can move the focus in and out. I do love being able to move focus in and out on a light from the head and from the actual light. So also the Broncolor Para is something I like, but it's the 170 or the 120. You've got to choose which one depending on where you are. And then putting the ring flash in the Para is also a great look. So I'm always after a kind of a silvery light, a light that's luminous, like has a luminosity to it. So I think most of those, and even with the small 50-50 softbox, often take off the front scrim and just have the inner scrim, so you have more silver coming out.
So just the first diffuser and then open. Yeah. What sort of softbox is it? Usually like a textured silver on the inside. You know how some are like a shiny and some are textured.
The ones I've got I've got two types. The older ones were textured, and the newer one is shiny. Yeah, so it's not shiny. It's just like a satin.
Okay.
Like satin feel. But it's important then to work with the pulsar heads and focus the light in all these attachments. Like actually play with the focus of the tube.
You've got
I love all that stuff. I actually love it more than cameras.
But it sounds amazing. Unfortunately, my lights don't have any of that capability. They don't have focusing so they're just the cheaper Godox, what's available today, which is, I was going to say, which is so crazy now how cheap it is that you can set up, a somewhat capable studio anywhere for pretty low prices now with lighting, compared to what I imagine it used to be like, where like you were talking about, everything needed to be rented. It would have been super expensive, I'm sure, to set up your own lighting kit. It's very accessible now. No, I love the whole renting thing, though. I mean, that was kind of like, you'd have the budget there to do it, and you just can experiment with trying different things. We have some Godox here, and I did use them on something recently, and they were very easy. So no cords, nothing which was great because I was moving around so much.
But yeah, Broncolor's usually my choice. Yeah.
Quick question in the chat. I know we're almost out of time, but LTK Photo wants to know: have you looked at the Hasselblad 907X that also works with the older Hasselblad 500cm? You know that. I'll see if I can bring it up.
Is that little flat one?
The box, yeah. It's like a. Hang on, where is it? Here we go. This one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I kind of can't get my head around that one.
Me neither. Like it's sort of like it looks very cool, but I couldn't quite work out, who it was aimed at.
Yeah.
It's such a good looking camera though.
It does look cool.
But
I mean, you're going to need to add a grip. But
yeah.
A lot of people on social media are shooting with these because they do that point of view where they must be wearing meta glasses and they're looking down at that, like that shot there.
Like this, yeah.
See lots of that on Instagram. Yeah.
Yeah.
It must be a very accessible system because I see lots of people shooting with it.
Yeah. I should try it out. I should try it out.
Rent it for a bit, see what happens.
Ask for a borrow one.
Yeah,
exactly. Surely these camera brands would be lining up to send you stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I was never that kind of person. I never got anything from anybody. But I did recently look at becoming a Hasselblad ambassador, but I don't know. It's not that easy. That they don't really do it like they used to. Yeah. I think Manfrotto were pretty good at doing all that sort of thing, but I never had that. Although I've always used Manfrotto.
You weren't chasing that sort of stuff. You were busy doing your work. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, look, I'm very conscious of time, Bronwyn, and I think that might be a natural stopping place for our conversation. Just on behalf of all of us here at the Camera Life podcast, and obviously all the wonderful people we have in our audience today, thank you so much for your time and your insight and your inspiration. But I think more importantly, for showing the humility with which you approach your work and the results that obviously speak for themselves. We look forward to seeing what you've got on the horizon and what's coming next for you. And we wish you all the very best. But we would like to find out one day what camera you do end up moving to.
I'll let you know.
Yes, definitely let us know. Especially Greg will be so excited if it is a Fujifilm. He'll be doing a little dance.
Yeah, I will. I like Fujifilm. I'm surprised you suggested it before I did. So there you go.
Well,
you can be taught.
As soon as I looked into that viewfinder on the GFX 102, like it is a next level viewfinder. It's one of the nicest that is on the market for sure.
Yeah.
So
and the images are good too.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for having me. I think I might join you every Thursday morning.
Hey, anytime. We'd love to have you. There's so many. We've skipped. We basically skipped from 2004 to now. So there's so many years we could still fill in. There's plenty of other stuff we could talk about. That's for sure. And to make a note, I have got Andrew. Now, how do I pronounce it? Vukasov. I've had his website up. I didn't realize he was a pilot photographer. Yes. When you said aerials and stuff, like he's a Cessna pilot. I'm like, this. Yeah. Yes. This is cool.
Yeah. Please contact Andrew. He's a great guy, and he's attached the highest end Hasselblad to his Phase camera to his Cessna.
Yeah.
So
that's crazy.
The images are beautiful. Yeah. I'm excited.
Kim Tonelli as well.
Yeah, Kim Tonelli. I've got Kim down, and we'll also take a look at your husband's work.
I'll pull that up as well. Norman Kruger. Yeah. I think I think I've got the right one. Is it normankruger.com?
Yes.
Yeah. Very cool. Yeah. Looks like commercial, all sorts of stuff.
We met in a camera store. There you go.
Did you really?
Oh, that's the ultimate story.
Okay. Do you have time to tell us how that went down? Tell us, please.
Yeah. So we both worked in a camera store in Greensborough called Photo Express, and we worked kind of different shifts. I wasn't very good at selling cameras. He was really good at selling cameras. He was also assisting at the time, and I was probably still at RMIT or just going part-time. And we were just kind of ships in the night, really, because we weren't often on together on the shifts. But he had a girlfriend at the time as well. And then I went to London. He came to my leaving party with his girlfriend. I went to London and I took some photos at my leaving party, and I don't know why I cut her out, but I cut her out of the photo. And
you know why. You
I'm
know
not sure
why.
Not sure why.
And then he sent me a photo of himself, a black and white one. I found it the other day. Actually, it's kind of like this. You know, it's done in the studio, and it says "Love Norman" on it. Anyway, years and years pass. I come back, and he says that he's getting married, and would you like to meet my wife? And I thought, oh, I don't know, and I didn't meet his wife. And then again, I come back from England on another visit. Oh, we're having a baby. We had a baby. You'd like to come and see the baby? I thought, oh, I'm not sure if I want to see the baby. Anyway, we kind of kept this friendship for a long time. We did go to China together as well, assisting an American photographer that was out here in the late 80s, early 90s. It's Pat Scanlon. And anyway, I went to stayed in London, came back to live, and then I thought, he separated from his wife, and I thought I might match him up with my girlfriend. And then I decided, no, I think he's right for me. So that was that.
Wow,
so we met in
Sweet.
97 or 98, and we got together in 2004.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah. Two
That's
photographers
lovely.
in one
Yeah,
family.
Yeah,
That's
and
such a cool
a
story,
Canon,
yeah.
a Canon shooter, just a run of the mill every day, not just a
Well-
stock standard. You could buy it at any shop Canon shooter.
Well, he was Nikon. He was Nikon until about 2 years ago. So
Interesting.
he moved over. But don't tell Julie at Nikon. He said so.
Yeah, she's still grumpy at me about that too. I did the same thing. So it's
But just a quick,
it's part of it.
question. Earlier in the show, you messaged your stepson.
Yes.
Was that the baby who you refused to meet out of pure jealousy? Oh, there you go. Look at
Really?
the circle.
Yeah, he's down the back room. He's actually working for the guy who introduced me to Andrew Vukasov. So there you go. It all goes
Oh,
full
wow.
circle.
Wow.
Who worked at Vanbar. So he's doing
Lovely.
some web design, web stuff.
Okay. Oh,
Who
nice.
knows what it is?
Well, I had a friend, one of my friends in high school used to work at Vanbar.
Oh, really?
After high school, he worked there part-time. We did photography together. And actually, I've just told this story on my blog. And we were in high school together, and we had a bit of a falling out over something, and we kind of fell out of touch. And then last week, I met up with him for the first time in over 30 years, and we were reminiscing about, the weekends we'd go and hang out at Vanbar and just drool over all the gear and,
What's his name?
Luke Briffer.
Luke.
Yeah. It was. I think he went back at some point in the past 3 decades to work there for a little bit, but yeah, it's just interesting here. As soon as you said Vanbar, it just brought up all these memories. It was.
It's still a good place if you need.
Yeah, I haven't been.
They process film, but also if you need a certain background, they've got all the color armors there. They've always got the stuff. They've got so much.
Think, did they merge with someone? Is that where I bought my backdrops from? I think. Or is that a different one?
You're thinking about Borgs.
And Dragon?
Borg died. I'm not sure if it might be Dragon.
Gosh, there's another blast from the past.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
so. Borg Anderson died.
It's a small world.
Yeah. But yeah, Peter, I'm sure Peter Baranow, who owns Vanbar, he put me in contact with a photographer when I left for London called Greg. Kim's probably listening, and she's, how can you forget Greg's name? Anyway, can't think right now. And Greg got me the job in the cafe, and then it just sort of, it's just about people championing you and saying, hey, you should meet this person, and I think you get along with them, and that's how everything has rolled for me, really, is in people's generosity. Yeah.
And it comes back to what I said earlier about, I believe that every photographer has a responsibility to support the early stages of new photographers that are entering the market. I think it's that tradition of, trades. Blacksmiths always had an apprentice.
Yes.
Farriers always had apprentices. It's about handing on that craft so it's not lost to time.
Yeah.
And I think that any photographer who supports this, up and coming photographers should be celebrated.
Yeah.
So I think it's really important to a part of learning how this industry works and actually making it successful.
Yes.
But look, we will wrap it up there. And
quickly, Greg.
Yeah,
Vanbar. If you're feeling nostalgic for the old days of when you go and drill there, I wonder, Bronwyn, if it is web stuff. The website is OG online store. It's it's almost so old that it's cool again. Like if a brand made this website now, people would be like, "Oh yeah, this is awesome. This is like a retro website."
And all that to do is
amazing.
There's
so much stuff on here too.
There's so much stuff. I don't know how would you even keep up with all of that. I mean, it really is so much. Yeah. You've got to take your hat off to Peter for keeping that business going.
Absolutely.
Wouldn't be easy at all. It's a long time, and to keep, like, retail is so hard.
Yes.
And particularly with what the camera industry has been
this
through
economy now.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
So very impressive. But that website, if anyone's listening, go to vanbar.com.au and check it out. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you once again. It's been an absolute privilege to spend some time getting to know who you are, but also, appreciating your body of work and where it has led you over the years. We're going to play some outro music and say goodbye to some people in the chat.
Yeah.
You ready, Doc? You're not ready for it, are you?
I was not ready for that at all.
He's never ready for the sound effects. Never.
No. All right, here we go. There we go. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Robert Varner says, "Great show as usual. Hope it's not too cold over there still, Robert. He's been getting snowed in New Jersey." Philip Johnson, good to see you. Julie Powell, thanks for joining us. Paul Sutton, late to the show, late to the party, but that's okay. It says the feel in the hand is so important. It is. Ian Thompson, wow, my first 35mm was a Pentax ME Super with 50mm. Took some great pics with that. Very cool.
That's amazing.
Who else? Paul, Lisa Leach, everybody was here. It was a great morning. If you're listening back later, throw a comment down below. And otherwise, we'll catch you all on Monday's show. With,
Monday night we're joined by Joel. Yeah.
Talk film.
And Levin Barrett's going to drop in with a very special surprise for us.
Yeah, very cool.
So stick around.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, thanks, Bronwyn. Have a good day.
Thanks, Bronwyn. See you, everybody. Be safe.
Bye.